All right, well, I have 11 o'clock, so we will go ahead and call this meeting to order. And if we could, I'd like to, for y'all to look over the minutes from our last meeting from May 28th. Has everyone had a chance to look over those minutes? Could I get a motion to approve them, please? Thank you, Craig. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, John. Judge. All right, we have a motion, a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, thank you very much. Motion passes. And now time for public comment. I will call on Greg Burris from the Community Outreach. Greg, the floor is yours, sir.
All right. We have not received any comments prior to the meeting, and there are no comments as of right now.
Well, that was easy enough. Thank you for that. All right.
No
and
problem.
now, Randall, I will lead this to you, let you take over. And Randall, we cannot hear you.
Randall, you're welcome to come down to my office if you want to use my computer.
Or you're welcome to use sign language.
We can't hear
Randall, you're on mute.
Can't hear you, Randall. You might want to just come down here.
I feel like I'm watching a progressive ad.
What is it? We rely on technology, but it's not reliable. I can confirm that Randall's audio worked 5 minutes before the meeting.
Yeah.
He decided not to.
Can you hear me now? Can you guys hear me now?
Loud and
Yes.
clear.
Okay. County updates, transportation updates. I don't see anybody from Henry County, so we'll go to Shelby. Craig, you want to give an update on Shelby County, you or Ryan?
Sure. The Kentucky 53 widening project is well underway. It runs between Osprey Cove, just south or just north of I-64 to just north of US 60 in Shelbyville. Terminates there at Benson Pike. Looks like they've done a lot of clearing, working on field, cutting, making cuts. Traffic still flowing one lane each direction with turn lanes ever so often. Other than that, the county road department, we are still cutting trees and preparing for snow and ice removal, getting all the equipment ready for that. That's about all I have, unless Ryan may have more.
Yeah, I don't have anything to add.
Okay, we'll go on to Spencer County. Judge Riley?
All right, they continue to work on replacing the Highway 44 bridge up in Mount Eden. That's on the Spencer Anderson County line. And we also, as Craig is, are getting our fleet ready for possibility of snow this year. And we've done quite well over the last year with bridge replacements. We've got one more bridge, that's the Washburn Lane Bridge, that will be replaced hopefully starting next month. I see my favorite commissioner on here, and we're going to be ready to do some paving in the spring. So other than that, I don't have any other updates.
Okay, Judge Pollack in Trimble County?
Well, like the other two gentlemen have said, we are getting ready for winter, and hopefully we won't have much of it. That would be great, so that come spring we'll be ready to do some paving out here. We got a lot of trees that are coming down, and trying to get them down so that they don't fall across the road. Much easier to cut when they're standing. And that's about all for us.
Okay. We'll go to the judge. We'll go to the next agenda item, Kentuckians for Better Transportation update.
Yep.
There's a new executive director starting December 1st. Her name is Jennifer Kirchner, and she was the executive director of the Danville Boyd County Commission and Visitors Bureau. She was responsible for organizations, assisted development, government, and public relations, and marketing and visitor centers. Save the date. The Kentuckians for Better Transportation conference will be January 20th through the 22nd, and that will be virtually. It's $100 registration fee for anyone who wants to join. Also, there's a KBT's also having a local adversary web. It's a local perspective on infrastructure. It's a webinar on December 3rd. I don't know if you guys get a KBT updates, but that would be a good one to attend. The Paducah Riverport Authority and Eddyville Riverport got funds from Bashir for $450,000 for grants, repairs, and equipment. And also KYTC has launched the JeffersonFaceStudy.com. It's a new public environmental tool and encourages people regarding new transportation options for travel in Central Kentucky. That's all I have, Judge, on KBT updates.
Thank you for that, Randall. And now we will introduce our commissioner, Bobby Joe Lewis, from the Kentucky Department of Rural Municipal Road Aid. Welcome, Bobby. Thank you for coming today.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you all for having us. Craig Cottle's here with me. I guess what I want to tell you all, first of all, is that I hope your communities are all doing well, safe and healthy. And it sounds like you're all doing a lot of work getting prepared for winter. And I want you to know I've been seeing nothing but little black woolly worms. I don't know what that says about winter, but you know what the Farmer's Almanac says, right? That we're going to have a bad one. So I'm glad you're getting ready. In any event, I want you to know that at the Department for Rural and Municipal Aid, we are moving forward, getting money released to our communities because we know that you all are getting prepared for winter. That's our main goal there. I just came to say hello for those of you that haven't met me before and those that I haven't met. But I'm going to leave all the details up to our fantastic Engineer of the Year, Craig Cottle, which many of you know. He's super fantastic, and I tell him that all the time. So that's all I have to say. If you all have any questions of me, I'm certainly happy to answer them. And I'm always available. I give everybody my cell phone number. If you got a pen, I'm fixing to say it, 502-892-9022. Okay? And I'll turn it over to Craig. Good morning, Craig.
Good morning. Is there a way that we can turn on the screen sharing? When I click on it, it says it's been disabled by the host.
Hold on, Amanda.
And I guess I'll just go ahead and kind of preview what I was going to do. Is anytime I get the opportunity to talk to several different people, I just like to go through our pots of money. And this one will be a much briefer discussion than I usually go to when I present, just because we get so many questions coming in of, hey, what money can I hit for this? What money can I hit for that? And that's kind of what I was going to go through. And as far as the updates, when I get to those pots of money where updates have occurred for us this year, I'll just explain it then. And that'll mostly be the county road aid money that's gone out, municipal road aid money that's gone out, the money that's been coming in because of this pandemic, how it's been lowered, our expectations, where they stand, what we're currently putting out, things like that. Let's see if I can, oh, perfect. Does that look like a slideshow for everybody? Okay, perfect. All right. So as Bobby Joe commented there, this is basically our office staff, everybody in our office. I think with, since the new governor came in, about everybody, and Bobby Joe, correct me if I'm wrong, I think we're looking at maybe getting one more field engineer, but pretty much this is our office now. Most of the people, if you call in and talk to me, and my staff, you're dealing with me, Shelby, Sarah, or Deborah there. If any payments go out, which I know you all want your money, that'll mostly be Sarah. So if you ever get many questions about, if you have any concerns or questions about how much you have left in a contract or something like that, she would be the go-to. Shelby is the lady I have mostly setting up all the projects right now. So that's kind of who your go-to people in my office there, but you can see who's in local programs, our field reps, and then who's in the office of the commissioner. And this presentation, I mean, you're more than welcome to take notes or anything, but it's on our website. And I believe maybe Amanda or Randall said he's going to give it out to everybody or put it on your all's website or something like that. So it's around. And if you have any questions, you're more than happy to give me a call. So basically what I like to think about, I'm going to get into our money here. And what I like to think about is think about 3 checking accounts. So the rural secondary is a checking account, county road aid is a checking account, municipal road aid is a checking account. So 3. Basically, and I'm not going to read this because you can read the screen, those KRSs are what establish those checking accounts. And the first 2, how we determine how much money goes into each county, is the formula of the FIS there you can see on the right-hand side of the screen. And that formula has been around for a while. I know there's talk about updating the formula, but I don't think it's really going to go anywhere. I mean, there's always talk about it, but I see it's going to stay like that for a while. The municipal road aid money, that's by population only. So now that we have the census coming in, those numbers will change for probably FY, depending on when I get them. We're in FY 21 now, probably FY 22 or 23. So it's a little bit down the road. As far as the rural secondary money and the county road aid money, even if the population, goes, I don't see a significant change. I get that question a lot is, hey, is this going to change my money a lot? I don't see a significant change, even if the population varies. But those are kind of the 3 pots of money. What I will talk about the updates here is on the county road aid and municipal road aid. Is we normally in the past, what we did was we cut 3 checks. So you would get you'd get a check mid-July. That would settle us up for the previous fiscal year. Then you'd get your first check around November, which was historically 60%. Your second check around January or February, which was 30%. And then your final check after the close of fiscal year, whatever settled us up, we figure out what we actually brought in tax revenue. Well, this year's a little bit different. And why we did that is because we're basically fronting you all this money. We haven't actually made it yet. So because of the pandemic and the lower revenue we were seeing, is your first check, the checks went out when they should have, but it was only 50% up front. Now, what we've done here is we've already sent out, Sarah's working on it, most of them have been sent out a 20% check instead of 30. But here in a few more months, we'll send out another 20% check and then the final check after that. So you're going to end up getting 4 payments this year. I had that email question about this just this morning. So you're going to see 4 checks come out this year instead of the historically 3 checks you've seen. So, and if you have any questions about, we still send out checks instead of the electronic transfers, because I've been told that it's hard to keep up with that. We have the right number, your bank numbers and all that. But if you have any questions, hey, have I got my money or how much am I going to get? Don't hesitate to give me a call, because I break those numbers. I do the budget for rural and secondary roads. So I break all this down myself and I can tell you how much money you're going to get for this year. Now, one thing I can't do, I've already had this question is, hey, what am I going to get in FY22? I don't know that yet. I haven't got the projections from budgets yet. I should be getting that. I usually do that about mid or late December is when budgets gets that to me. So just kind of keep that in the back of your head is that's when that'll come. So basically what I've done on here in this next slide is I've kind of color coded these checking accounts just so it makes it easier in later slides there. But basically the rural secondary money is in the blue, the county road aid money is in the green, and then whatever you call that last, it looks more yellow when I usually bring it up, but that's your municipal road aid money. And basically all this does is this kind of breaks down the pots in those 3 pots. So what I mean by that is on the rural secondary money, and what I think is pretty cool about this, sorry to digress here, is in our office, you saw how small it was. Well, if you add up the 20 and 7.7 near the top of the screen, you can see that our little office spends half the road aid money that comes in. I always thought that was, or almost half. I thought that was pretty cool, going through that little bit of people, all this money going in and going right back out to counties, cities, and state people to get work done. So as you can see in the blue checking account, what is in it? One pot of money goes to our state folks for maintenance and traffic, and what that is snow removal, pothole repairing, ditching, things of that nature. Then after that, we have money for projects, state projects, and then after that, in the emergency pot, which is a 6% you see there, we do emergencies for state work, which are mostly we see slide repairs. I did one just today for Greenup County. It's going to go on Whetstone Road there. And then the 80/20 money. So the 80/20 money is what counties can hit for drainage structure repair. And I'll go into that a little bit later. Now for your county road aid, municipal road aid, they're pretty much set up very similar. So we basically, anybody who wants to participate in a co-op, and basically what that means is that we take 3% of their money and just throw it in a big pot that they can hit later for emergencies if they want to. They're not forced to join this, but I always encourage them. I think it's a great idea because most counties and cities can't afford a $50,000 landslide or a drainage structure washout or something like that. You know, and they can request more than they put in. So that's something that I encourage them to go ahead and sign up for. Okay, so what I've done here is I try to make this simple as can. All these pots of money get broken down even further. So this is kind of what I was talking about in the last slide, is that rural secondary money. This is 22.2%. Is the first thing that comes out is that maintenance and traffic. I told you that goes right to our state folks. The next is a county judge executive expense there. And that's just a KRS. And people have asked me what that is and why it is from the best I can tell, that's the county judges that we pay them a little bit for the time and effort they deal with our roads and deal with us. And it's not much at all. You can see it there. It's a little bit of money. The rural secondary lettings, all that is proposals you see come out of rural secondary roads, us that get let on the streets, bid on by asphalt companies. That's all that is. And these numbers at the top are the amounts of money in those pots that you can kind of see. The last here is what you more care about, is the flex funds. And that's money that we give back to the counties for resurfacing only. Now, in addition to resurfacing, that can also include if you've got a base failure, if you need to do a little bit of ditching, replace a pipe or two. Because if you don't do that type of stuff, the surface you're putting down isn't going to last anyways. But you can see we give back about $25 million there. And this is, even in the pandemic, these numbers haven't gone down too bad. These are the most up-to-date numbers we have here. It didn't go back down near as bad as they thought it was going to go down. So that's a very good outlook that we've seen here. Let's go on to the next slide here. So basically what I'm going to talk about here is, this is your county and municipal aid. This is where you just get those checks I talked about. We went from 3 checks to 4 checks. And you can read, I'm not going to read that word for word. Basically what it is we send a letter out, usually around, I'd say April or something, and asking if you want to be in the co-op. That way that if you say yes, and you send it back and say yes, we send you an agreement and resolution. Basically the judges sign it, send it back, and then you start getting your checks. If you do not become a part of the co-op, then your checks are cut monthly by the Department of Local Government. So that's the difference is, one, that's why I like the co-op is, one, you're getting in front of a big bunch of money up front. You can apply for emergencies. Yes, you're using 3%, but those are all good things. Whereas the other one, you get a monthly check and it's, a lot smaller, but it's actually what we brought in. So they're based off actual numbers. The only 2 people that don't participate are Fayette and Jefferson. And they're such big counties that they can handle an emergency. So I think they like, especially with Fayette, the man I've talked to that's over there, I think he really likes it for budgeting purposes. He gets that monthly. He can just do like we all do, a monthly budget there. And below is that emergency funding I was talking about that they can hit, and that's both on the city side or the county side. And as far as the cities go, we probably only have about 33% participating in the co-op in that realm. And when we speak at things, I try to encourage them to participate more, but that pot of money is pretty low in relation to the county road aid. So flex funds, I mentioned this a little bit ago. As you can see, we're projecting almost 26 million this year, and you can read what it is. Basically, this is just a made up program. This and the 80/20 bridge program. This was first started, I guess, in 2010 by the first Bashir. And basically what it is back then we were bringing in a bunch of money, and we were actually, we're keeping up with our roads pretty good. So we gave all this back out to the counties to help them out. And like I said before, it's a resurfacing project, but if you need to address other issues on the road, you can do that. Now, one thing I've seen and discouraged is they wanted to resurface a road. They wanted to replace a bunch of pipes on a road and then threw it resurfacing on there just so he could get on the list. Well, that won't fly because what we do, and I don't know if it's on the next slide. Yes, I'll go ahead and go to this next slide. What the judges do is they send us the request form, and it's in a forms library on our website. All this stuff is reachable by the internet, especially now that a lot of people aren't in the office anymore. Is they'll send the request form in. I'll send it right back out to our district personnel who will go basically inspect the road. So on a scale from 1 to 10, they'll rank it. Anything at 5 or higher, I don't question it unless they've commented and made some comments on there. We approve it. One thing we have talked about, we haven't initiated it yet, is instead of going from because all over the state, a field engineer may look at a road. One may say it's a 5, one may say it's a 2 or something. To make it easier, we may in the future just say yes or no. That way there's no, well, that's a 7 and that's a 6. So we've had that come up before too. But we'll just say everything checks out perfect. The next thing we do is I hand it out to the staff. They create an agreement resolution. We email it to the judge. Judge signs it, sends it back to us. We route it for signatures. Now that's one good thing about this pandemic is because of everybody being who knows where is before these were actual signatures. Now it's all electronic signatures. So it looks like things are moving actually faster now that we can all electronically sign this stuff. So once we get it all signed, it'll when it comes back, it'll go to legal, the commissioner, and then the secretary's office. So once and secretary is the last person. Once we get it that we send it right back out to the county, and then that's when they can start work. And that's what I always say when I present on the flex funds and the bridge funds. Do not start any work until you have a fully signed agreement, or we will not reimburse you for that. And I've been happy to report over the last few years, it's been going down, the counties that have done that. So, but Sarah's hard. She'll email me if she sees something wrong with it and ask me what I think. And I've denied payment before, and it's not a super bad thing because especially on the flex funds is if you don't use your money like this year, people may have got behind and forgot to turn it in. This money does carry over to next year. So if you had $100,000 on the books and you just got too late, I'll carry that money over. And that's something I do automatically. The county doesn't have to worry about that. So we get this question a lot too about adopting county roads. It's basically, there's the who to contact, things like that. But what I'll add is one, where your money is based off the road mileage. If you remember the FIS formula a few slides ago, I'll get a call being, hey, if we adopt 5 miles of road, is that going to help us out? Well, technically, yes, but the little bit of mileage that's adding into it's not going to give you a bit. You may notice, $20 or something like that. It's not going to be, unless you're adopting a lot of road. Now, I came from maintenance before I worked in rural roads. I would suggest not adopting anything because that's just more, it's more maintenance you're going to have to do in the future, but it's up to you. It just depends on what you want to do. I know that, I didn't like adopting county roads in the state system because I knew we'd have to maintain it. But we added, this is a newer slide here that we added in because we get this question a lot. Okay, the bridge program, I kind of mentioned that. I kind of mentioned that a little bit earlier. So like I said, this is a made up program too. And that's one thing, this program does not carry money over. You get up to $80,000 per fiscal year. One thing to remember about these programs is, especially the flex funds where it does carry over, is some counties, whatever governor could just end these programs. Bashir can say, no, we're stopping it tomorrow and giving all this money back to the state. I don't foresee that happening just because I think it would be political suicide just because they've been going for so long now, 10 years. They do a lot of good. I don't see these stopping anytime soon. But let's get back to the program here is 80/20 bridge program. So like I said, up to $80,000 a year. And what the 80/20 means is you send in a bridge request and we will fund 80% of that. So so the county's on the hook for 20% up to the 80,000. Oh, excuse me. And a lot of the questions I get are, what can we actually replace? And that's why I kind of show all these pictures here. Since you only get $80,000, you can't really replace huge structures, kind of like the one in the bottom right. It's more for, low water fords that you see there, just single pipe culverts, double culverts, things like that. And on the next slide, I'm gonna skip over. one thing we also allow too is these small structure inspections. So what several counties have done, they'll use their money 1 year to go out and have 3 or 4 roads inspected by, I think DLZ did it. DLZ did one. They go out and rank their pipes on the road. So they'll know if they can afford 5, they know the 5 worst to address. And that's kind of what all that talks about right there. Because I thought that's just as important as going out and fixing one, is knowing which ones you need to fix and not wasting your money somewhere. So basically, this slide here is to help on some of the bigger structures, to help these counties out that don't want to hire a design firm. Is Bridge Design on the 3rd floor in our office created all these design sheets that you see right there. And those are on our website. And basically that kind of, you can cookie cutter a bridge out just by picking, if you want steel structure, all that stuff down through there, or concrete structure, whatever you want. And it's pretty simple, especially if you've got some counties have engineers, they can use those sheets right there and basically build the bridge from that. So the process here is pretty much exact same as the flex fund process. You all send in the request. With the request, I need a picture and a detailed estimate. And then, if everything checks out, we do the agreement, send it to you all, send it back, route it, same thing there. And then go to the next page. The payment, I was going to talk about the payment process, but that comes a few slides later, so I'll leave that. But these are all, we have to reimburse you. So these, you don't get any money up front. You do the work and then we pay you back, but I'll talk about that here in a little bit. The emergency fund, this is that 3% that I told you. So this is for counties and cities if they participate in the co-op. And this is an 80-20 match program also. So if they send in an emergency request for 100, if I approve it, we're going to give them 80. And then, they'll ask for the reimbursement here in a little bit. Here's kind of the process you can read down through there. Basically, they send in a request also with a detailed estimate and pictures, and I'll approve, 80%. Now, some people ask, some people get crazy and send in a $500,000 request. I try to say, if you keep it, we don't fund much more than $100,000, just because on the county side, the pot of money, when it starts out, it's only about $3 million, which, to us, me or you, that sounds like a lot of money, but when you've got 18 counties that can possibly hit that doesn't, and that's for a full year. That's not too much money over a full year with rain that we have, and who knows what's going to happen this year. But so, I try to keep it kind of low. Now, if it's getting to the end of the year and I see we've got a lot of money left, I'll let bigger projects go through, but not initially, because we're still pretty fresh we're about halfway through this fiscal year. Now, what else I'll talk about here is, if you look there on the right-hand side of the screen, 80% approved, 50, all those crazy numbers over there. Basically, all that means is if the request is approved, say I approve $100,000. Well, in this emergency process, there is no agreement, so they can start work right then. So what we'll do is we'll send a check for 50% of what I approved. So it'd be 50,000, send it right then. Then they will request payment for that next 50 after the project's done. And the only way they won't get that next 50 is, say the project came in under budget, they're only going to get 80% of what they actually spent up to what I approved. Okay, so now let's talk about, I kind of led into it there, but how they get their money. So basically, it's just a payment request form that they find on our website for all the different pots of money I told you. They send it to us. The only one they don't send, and that's going to come up here in a second, we have a discretionary pot of money. Those payment requests go to the district office, but if they happen to send them to me, we can messenger mail it right back out. So it's no big deal. It'll still get to where it needs to get to. So it's not a big deal at all. But they send in this form with all their invoices. The only thing we don't need, that I've tried to tell people, we don't need load tickets for asphalt. I mean, you can just throw us in trash and just give us the invoice from Hinkle or whoever you've got laying the asphalt. Send that to us. Sarah will review it. She'll send me the stuff to approve, and then then it goes to accounts and they cut a check out. So that's pretty simple. This is something that we have on there too, is if you, for instance, if you can lay your own asphalt, or you're going to do some work on an emergency project yourself, this is the non-cash match form if you need it right there. And the reimbursement form is at 2038. And that's kind of just a picture of, a check. One thing we have changed a little bit too, I guess that'd be an update as well, is there was a lot of discretionary money, and this is kind of on the discretionary side, but it can be for our side too. at the end of Bevan's administration, a lot of money went out to people, smaller cities that, normally couldn't afford, say they got a $500,000 paving project and they can't afford to pay the invoice and then do a payment request on us. So sometimes we would kind of let it slide. And if that was the case, we'd let them request the payment and then pay the contractor and then send us the cancel check after that. So that's an issue too. That's something that you can talk to me about or the commissioner if you're in that situation. So discretionary funding, this is getting to the end here. A lot of them get sent to me and I'll basically forward this on to the commissioner and these can be any type of projects is what I like to tell people. Most of the ones we see come in are resurfacing, but if you have a road that's a safety issue or even a bridge or something that's a safety issue, those are definitely available. Now down in the bottom at the red, that's one thing I like to mention too. If you have not used your flex funds or your bridge funds through me yet, it's most likely the discretionary funding won't get approved because you all need to exhaust your funds with me before you hit that pot of money because that money, that pot's not super big. But like I said, the payment request for that will go to the district office. And that's about all I have. As far as is there any questions that I can answer for anybody for the department? All right, well, thank you.
Thank you, Craig. That was very informative. I think we all got, we use that. I know here at the county, we've applied for some 80/20 bridge projects to repair some culvert work and appreciate you working with us on that. And yeah, we were lucky to get some of that discretionary money from the end of Bevan's term. And so, yeah, I would encourage everybody, if you're not in on that, start working on it.
Judge, I got
right.
one other thing. I thank you, Craig, for presenting and also Commissioner to being on the call. I really appreciate you guys.
Thank you. It was our pleasure.
Yep, thank you.
All right, now we will call on Elizabeth Fark. Did I say your last name correctly? Or Farce?
You did.
Oh, okay.
Fark.
Great.
Yeah.
All right, well, the floor is yours, Elizabeth.
All right. I'm going to share my screen. Can you all see that okay?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So I'm here to follow up with you all about the Coordinated Human Services Transportation Plan. It is finally finished and ready for your approval. So just a little bit of a recap of why we need a coordinated plan. It's required for receiving FTA's Section 5310 Enhanced Mobility for Seniors and Individuals with Disabilities. And it provides direction for funding the projects and coordinating between providers, TARC, and KIPTA, as well as other local governments to get those projects funded. And then the plan is also a huge resource for transportation providers, gives them some information on where these populations are, other providers in the area, and then how they can get funding through TARC. TARC is the designated recipient for the urban area, and then the state is for the rural area. To recap of where we started, the plan was last updated in 2016, and we really started going on this update in spring, summer, doing some data analysis on existing conditions, updating the provider list for those who use it. Over the summer, we conducted some online surveys. Weren't able to go out in public because of COVID-19, but we had really good feedback from both the public and the providers on their needs and their challenges and what they wanted to see funded in our region. In August, the RTC, as well as the NPOs, TTCC and TPC, provided input on the goals and objectives for the plan. And then all the committees also had a chance to review the draft back in September. We had a public comment period just recently ended on November 7th. We received one comment on the coordinated plan, just asking for more walkable communities, even for older adults and individuals with disabilities, and just recognizing that need in our area. And then now we're on to November seeking final approval. A little bit about our process. These are really the 4 main chapters in the plan. So we're looking at existing conditions, where the activity centers are, where the medical centers are, especially that's a huge thing for this population. Demographic profile, where are the concentrations of older adults and individuals with disabilities, and where is the accessibility to transit, particularly in the urban area, and recognizing that there's not that access in the rural area. Survey results, so we asked what would make these transportation services easier to use. And then for providers, what are their main challenges? What are they not being able to find, or what are they not being able to coordinate with either their clients or other providers? And then finally, identifying the needs. We kind of label them into those 4 main themes that connect to the goals of performance, access, safety, and coordination. And those are the objectives underneath. There's a few more objectives listed in the plan as well. But just really hitting on that we want a reliable service. We want it to be accessible to as many people as possible. We want it to be safe, and we want to be able to utilize the funding, coordinate between all the entities involved, try to improve the transportation services that are out there. So today, again, we're asking for approval of the coordinated plan. Just a reminder that this is covering all 9 KIPTA counties, the MPO and the ad. So if y'all have any questions, I'm happy to answer any.
Well, that's very good, Elizabeth. Thank you for that.
We need a motion and a second on the coordinated plan.
Okay. Can we get a motion to approve this plan?
Jim Travis makes a motion to approve the plan.
Thank you, Jim. Do we have a second?
I'll second that plan.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Ryan. All right. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right. Motion, and any opposed? All right. Motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
All right. And our next RTC meeting is January 28th, 2021.
Yes.
It'll be here before you know it.
It'll be
Randall, do you have anything else?
It'll be by Zoom, the 28th, January 28th at 1 o'clock. And we'll send that out closer to the time, probably the end of December. Also, in other business, I sent a link to the KYTC's draft public involvement plan. So you guys should, it's on the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet's website. So you guys take a look at that. That's all I have, Judge.
All right. Well, thank you, Randall, for everything, and Amanda and Elizabeth and Craig and Commissioner Lewis. Y'all do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
There you go. Thank you, Judge Riley. Do we have a second? Ryan, thank you very much. All those in favor, aye. All right.
All right.
Thank you all very much. And
Thank you all.
Jarrett, we'll see you after a while.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'll see you at 2 o'clock.
Y'all have a good day.
All right.